In Hollywood, silence often hides the fiercest rivalries, and when it comes to Tyler Perry, Spike Lee, and Denzel Washington, that silence is deafening. Three powerful black voices, three drastically different visions, but behind the scenes, tension, bitterness, and unspoken jabs have brewed for over a decade. Spike has thrown shade, Tyler has fired back, and Denzel, his silence may speak the loudest. What started as a difference in creative approach spiraled into something far more personal. Ego, power, and cultural identity all clashing in the spotlight. This isn't just about films, it's about how black stories should be told, and who gets to tell them. Tyler Perry, the billionaire media mogul, hasn't always had Hollywood on his side. In fact, some of the industry's most respected figures have refused to work with him altogether, namely director Spike Lee and two-time Oscar winner Denzel Washington. What's behind the tension? At the heart of it is a storm of artistic pride, accusations of harmful stereotyping, and conflicting visions of black storytelling. Spike Lee, never one to hold back, once labeled Perry's work as coonery and buffoonery, a scathing critique suggesting Perry's films degrade the image of black people. He viewed Perry's use of exaggerated characters, like the iconic Medea, as regressive and exploitative. For Spike, who's long fought to elevate nuanced, dignified portrayals of black life, Perry's style felt like a betrayal. And Perry, he didn't just brush off the insults. In a fiery 2009 interview, he declared, "Spike can go to hell." He didn't hold back his anger, claiming he was tired of being criticized by someone he felt should be supporting him. "I'm sick of him talking about me. He talked about Oprah. He talked about Whoopi. He talked about Clint Eastwood. He needs to shut the hell up," Perry snapped. The feud had officially gone public, but that wasn't the only controversy brewing around Perry. When he expanded from films to television, creating shows like House of Pain and Meet the Browns, labor disputes erupted. He reportedly fired several writers for requesting union contracts, causing an uproar. Actor and writers unions later advised their members not to work with him, citing his refusal to play by standard industry rule. Perry responded by saying he'd simply write everything himself, further cementing his image as a control-obsessed auteur. And yet, Tyler Perry's empire only grew. He opened one of the largest film studios in the US and gained widespread acclaim from fans who praised him for creating opportunities for black actors and telling stories that resonated with everyday people. But critics kept circling, especially around one recurring theme: colorism. In many of Perry's films, audiences began to notice a pattern. Dark-skinned male characters were often portrayed as abusive, violent, or morally corrupt. Lighter-skinned men, on the other hand, were frequently cast as saviors, kind, gentle, and successful. The messaging, some said, was clear. Darker skin meant danger, while lighter skin represented virtue. This wasn't just talk on the internet. Cultural commentators like Jamila Lemieux publicly questioned Perry's choices. In a widely read NPR letter, she expressed her discomfort with how Perry used stereotypes, particularly the way he portrayed black matriarchs like Medea. "Our mothers and grandmothers deserve more," she wrote, and she wasn't alone in that sentiment. Even comedian Chris Rock joined the chorus, using a joke to make a deeper point. He said if Tupac were alive today, he'd probably be cast as the violent, dark-skinned boyfriend in a Perry movie. Harsh, maybe, but Rock's critique echoed Spike Lee's. Perry's casting choices had consequences, and they weren't always positive. And then there's Denzel Washington. Unlike Spike, Denzel hasn't publicly attacked Perry, but perhaps the most telling detail is this: despite being one of the most collaborative and respected actors in the business, Denzel has never worked with Perry, not once. He's partnered with Spike multiple times, championed new black directors, and supported bold storytelling. But when it comes to Perry, radio silence. Insiders whisper that Denzel simply doesn't respect Perry's artistic vision, where Denzel gravitates toward layered, challenging narratives built on dialogue, performance, and realism. Perry's work can feel melodramatic and heavy-handed. To a classically trained actor like Denzel, Perry's broad characterizations and predictable plot lines might seem more theatrical than cinematic. And let's not forget the cultural clash between the two. Tyler Perry is loud, proud, and always in the spotlight. He throws extravagant galas, appears with Oprah, and announces billion-dollar ventures. Denzel, by contrast, is the definition of low-key. He rarely does interviews, avoids flashy headlines, and lets his work speak for itself. That fundamental difference, showman versus craftsman, could explain why Denzel has kept his distance. Meanwhile, Perry's list of critics keeps growing. Actor Blair Underwood, who once played a villain in one of Perry's films, later opened up about the challenges black actors face in Hollywood. He pointed out how Perry often recycles storylines, relying on abusive or controlling black male characters to move the plot. Another frequent critique, Perry rarely allows other black writers or directors to help shape his projects. He maintains total creative control, writing, directing, and producing every detail himself. Even Perry's 2020 Netflix release A Fall from Grace reignited debate. The film, featuring a dark-skinned male antagonist who emotionally manipulates and deceives his wife, drew backlash for reinforcing colorist tropes. The story ends with the woman in jail, framed and broken, a victim of yet another abusive relationship. Many viewers saw this as part of a troubling pattern, black women suffering endlessly at the hands of men, with no narrative payoff beyond pain. Social media erupted. Tweets accused Perry of glorifying trauma and ignoring the emotional toll these portrayals have on audiences. Others, however, defended him, arguing that he shines a light on real issues often overlooked by mainstream media. The debate was fierce, but it showed one thing clearly: Perry's work touches nerves, whether for better or worse. But here's the twist. Despite all the criticism, Tyler Perry is still standing tall. His studio has become a hub for black creatives. He's helped actors, launched careers, and changed the landscape of black media. That kind of power is undeniable. Yet the lack of collaboration with elite peers like Denzel and Spike remains glaring. Why won't Denzel work with him? Why does Spike still throw shade? The answer might lie not just in artistic differences, but in what each man believes black storytelling should be. Spike believes in using film to challenge systems and elevate black identity with complexity. Denzel lives for authenticity and excellence in performance. Tyler believes in giving voice to stories from the church, the streets, and the struggle, even if it means using stereotypes or simple archetypes to connect with his audience. The real question is, can these three ever find common ground? Or are their visions simply too far apart? The divide between Tyler Perry, Spike Lee, and Denzel Washington isn't just about movies. It's about legacy, identity, and the power of storytelling. Each man represents a different chapter in the evolution of black cinema. One built an empire on accessibility and faith. One fights for truth and complexity. The other, a master of restraint and craft. Together, they've shaped the narrative in vastly different ways, but never side by side. As fans, critics, and culture watchers continue to dissect their work, one thing's clear: this silent feud may never be resolved, but its impact will echo across Hollywood for years to come.